Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see there, Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to the one and only PSGL F2 PC. We are here for the second round of the season. I am joined in the commentary box by none other than Nathan Richards. Good to have you here, mate. Welcome in. How are we feeling heading to the second round of the championship? Yep, you're on. There you.
It's the first round in Australia. It was a bit of a weird round, wasn't it? Because we had people finishing in lots of different positions. We had lots of accidents and crashes and people getting damaged. So we didn't really get much of a picture for who's actually the quickest last time out in Australia. So going here into Belgium, depending if we have the chaos like we did last time, we might see a bit of a different picture of results. Obviously, today as well, we got 4 new standings. We got Pierre McKee in Lenny Pepinter's Alpine. We've got Valentin Tyvard in Jos Nordrijk's Haas, Andres Lopez in the Red Bull of, I believe, Leo Lund, who's unfortunately got a race ban, and then Louis Welch, who's in the Sauber of, I believe, I don't remember who, but he's in the Sauber for someone today.
Yep, and yeah, I think the curious thing is, as we have got Belgium tonight, and of course what a track it is. I know that we have a little bit of a split opinion on that. I'm a personal lover of Belgium. I think it's an interesting track. It has its place. It has its heritage. I can't deny that. But I'd say at the same time, you saying you weren't too hot on this one personally.
No, I'm not. I think it's a nice circuit, but it's overused because I don't know if this is just because obviously I watch more than just F1, but every single motorsport you watch, you tend to see Belgium, and I think the track's a little bit overused. I might be a bit biased, but I just think that it seems we're here every single week on a different, on the same game, so it's not the best circuit. But either way, Sappy, I think we both know it does still deliver some brilliant racing, and of course, it delivers brilliant qualifying.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big thing here, as you have, of course, iconic areas where you can, say, make or break a lap, looking at things like max speeds down the Kemmel Straight, looking at the speeds you can hold through corners like Pouon, and then the bus stop chicane, say, a big test of bravery throughout this circuit, in between 2 DRS zones and 19 corners. Longest track on the F1 calendar as of current, although not historic, because remember, we did have places like Le Mans and the Nordschleife at one point featuring on the calendar, but that was, say, way back in the cowboy era, some refer to it. And at least in our sort of league racing realm, short of some classics in previous games, we don't really get that window into some of those ages. But taking a look at where we stand now before we jump into qualifying, we have the preliminary drivers' standings, and we have Reece Linton leading with Nico Benz and Mirko Siriano filling out the podium. Leo Lund, who did finish in 16th last time, is, as you say, getting a race ban because they did reach 10 license points within a 4-month period. They do not reset per season, they do carry over, so something to keep in mind. We do call a new season a clean slate in terms of the championship, but racing standards are still racing standards.
Indeed, yes. So obviously, it is a big shame for Leo, unfortunately, not be able to take part here tonight in Belgium. But then again, he got the penalty points. He serves his punishments. But obviously, last week as well, pole sitter Lenny Pepinter, who unfortunately isn't here tonight, suffered an incident in the race. So I'd rather that we was looking at possibly being a race winner, ended up finishing P8, not attending here tonight in Spa due to his own personal, activities. So Lenny going into this, he'll be going into the third round on just 4 points, and he's a driver that I think everybody, no matter if you invest into the scene or not, would think Lenny would be one to look for the championship. So a big shame to see him, obviously so far down in the standings. But if we look at the game screen, I don't see a dry track.
Yeah, I do not see a dry track either, my friend. I am seeing, and if my eyes do deceive me not, I see a wet course. A wet course here in Spa. This is going to be interesting. How do you think this is going to affect quali here, and the race for that matter?
Well, I think if it go, I think obviously we have that dynamic weather on the restart. If we have a restart, I believe. If not, then we'll just continue with the weather. So if we have a restart, it could be both, couldn't it? It could easily stay wet or go back towards the dry. But I think qualifying, it's quite interesting when it's wet because you kind of don't know where the grip is at all. Because obviously, even though it is wet, there's different levels of wet, and it can affect the car by 1/10. The 2 corners later, the track could be entirely different. So it's quite hard to kind of judge where the grip is and how much throttle, how much braking into a blind to a corner to be safe and to be able to set your lap time at the quickest pace possible. So it's always weird around this circuit because it's also quite a long lap. Other tracks, not as long, but here you've got to make sure you can deal with the circuit for at least 1 minute. It's normally it's about 1 minute and 40 for a good lap, but obviously in the wet you're looking probably 5 or 6 seconds slower. So you've got to be able to keep up with it. Don't go off the track for over a minute and a half. It's quite a long time to keep yourself in perfect form. So it's going to be interesting to see what the drivers can do. But then again, these are F2. These are the stars of tomorrow. If anyone can make it work along with the F1 drivers, it's these guys.
Yeah, and this is going to be a test because the wet does bring out some unique characteristics when it comes to these cars. We're on board with Joris Krozen now, who is the first car to come out after a little bit of a pause. I imagine drivers looking at the weather situation, seeing if things are projected to improve before committing to a setup either way. A thing that I often find is that while we don't necessarily have parc fermé rules, some drivers do like to get a little bit experimental with their setups, depending on if it's a wet quali or not.
They do indeed, and that really makes it interesting because you then don't know what kind of... Obviously, you don't know if a driver's on a wet setup or a dry setup. Obviously, if we do go through and towards the race, which we might do, and the race is dry, they might not want to use a wet setup now. Obviously, if it stays wet, then they will go into a wet setup. So it's a bit of a weird... phase of what you do with your setup, and that's where we might see that differentiation when we come through to the qualifying times. But obviously, we're on board Joris, and speaking of Joris, big disappointment in Australia. He's a driver that I said at the start of the season would be looking for the championship. I've followed him through leagues for the past couple of months, and he's one of the best drivers on this grid. But in Australia, he qualified then, I think it was P17, along with his teammate Lilian Derbicourt over at Race Couture. I was also surprised to see qualify so low then, and unfortunately, Joris didn't come home with any points after that round. So a big show for Joris to come into this round, 16 points back off the championship lead, in a really bit of a sticky situation. Yes, we know there's another 10 rounds left to go, but you don't want to be in the back forever, especially when this championship is so close and the grid is really, really close. I think this is one of the closest grids we've had here in F2 for a long time. It might not be the high-spec close grid, but everyone's so close together no matter what.
Yeah, and this is going to put that to the test with Joris Krozen now starting his lap, chip on his shoulder, foot on the throttle, down the hill as we head to Eau Rouge and Radion. He's going to carry as much speed as he can. He's heavy on it. He's short shifting in some of the gears, but he's going to carry it all the way through down into 7th as we go up the hill, crossing very nicely, keeping it in good form. I think really leaning into the wings, using the aerodynamics of that car to keep it planted firmly even as he goes over the crest of the hill. Now braking just before the 50-meter board, little bit hasty, a little bit too much off the edge. We did see a tiny bit of a slide coming from that Mercedes, but he's kept it in check so far.
Indeed, he's doing a decent job first on this opening lap. Obviously, he's a bit of a guinea pig. Obviously, other people in the pits might be trying to see where the grip is on Joris's lap to determine what they do with their setup or determine what they do with tyres. I think we all know they're most likely going to go onto the intermediate tyres, but some drivers just want to make that double check to be sure. As he heads through now towards Pouant before he heads down towards the Lafania chicane, we'll see what he can do at the end of this second set. Looking so far so strong here for Joris as he heads his way through these next couple of corners in towards the double right-handers down at Stavelot. And we'll see what he can do in this middle sector. His split time will be around a 120, 120.991 there for Yoris. Purple in that middle sector, but then again, he's the only one to go through the middle sector at this point. So at the moment, Sappy is looking like a decent lap, but there's definitely improvements to be made, I think, here for Yoris.
Yeah, there's certainly some improvements. A little bit of sketchiness coming off the Camel Straight. He does have some room to improve for sure. But I think as far as initial laps go, he's got the banker lap, he's got something in the pocket, and provided he confirms it and brings it home here without any drama, he could still see him on a good midpoint position. And here we go, 51.117. That's the initial benchmark. Jan Halliday immediately behind, 0.945. He's going to cross into the 950s as Mirko Soriano, 51.3. Next up, you've got Liam Stevens, 51.6. Not quite hitting the pace that he wanted, as he is going to be down near the bottom of our first four runners. Majority of the field not going out yet, curiously, but we have Kamil Stachera, driver who has definitely got the biggest point to prove after what we saw in the first round out, losing after just a single corner and having to walk his way back to the pit lane. Is he going to prove it here? He was a very strong quali runner, 51.3. That's going to put him just above his teammate by, in fact, 33 milliseconds, as Shimalakomsky is going to be the next car with a 0.989 to break into the magic 150 barrier.
Indeed, and that lap there from Jan was a brilliant lap, wasn't it? It puts him over a tenth ahead of Joris, and then those gaps behind Joris then just go bigger and bigger and bigger. So brilliant from both Jan and Shimon to get themselves into the 50.9s at the start of this session. We've got a few more cars left to come through. Fiona McKay into 8th there at 59.2, so obviously that isn't a representative lap time here in the qualifying session. But yeah, Sappy, as you mentioned, many drivers not going out just yet, so that makes me think, are we looking to be going to a little bit more of a drier segment of the racetrack by the end of the session? Because I think the rain's slowing down a little bit, unless I'm just having a bit of a placebo effect. And if that is the case, we could see some dry tyres making an appearance near the end, near the last 5 minutes here this session. But the issue you have with this circuit is, it's such a long circuit. The run plan is also a lot longer than it is around, than it is around the likes of Austria.
Yeah, and with that extended run plan does mean you've got, well, by pure nature of the length of the circuit alone, you've got less chances to get a good quali in. And I think a lot of drivers are making a gamble on whether the track is going to dry up, or at least if a dry line is going to start to form. But if they get that gamble wrong, then they are going to be facing a mad dash. Traffic could be almost unavoidable. So I hope they have conviction in that ideal. Fionn McKee just came out Puon, and he has invalidated his time, so he's going to be a no-go. Though we do have Daniel Koya, who is currently on a lap and looking in fairly good form.
Indeed, yes. The track is looking a little bit better now. I can see the rain's very, it's nearly stopped at some points on the circuit. So I do think we'll go towards a bit more of a dry end into the session, which puts even more pressure on the drivers. We can still see, though, Daniel heading through in towards Puon corner. We'll see what he can do in this middle sector shortly before he heads down in towards Lafanya chicane. And definitely looking so strong for the McLaren at the moment. Obviously didn't get many points back out in Australia, so he'll be looking for a bit of a redemption here tonight in Belgium as he heads down now in towards the last couple of corners of this second sector. It's a 20.765. That puts him nearly a tenth ahead of Jan, but as a massive slide coming through the exit in towards Coeur de Porfray, that could cost him some time there, could cost him even a tenth or two of a second as he heads down towards Bonchemont. So far, this is looking like a decent lap here for Daniel. This could be definitely an easy top three. You could even put him onto that provisional pole position, because that middle sector was very, very nice indeed. He heads down now in towards the last couple of corners and he heads back into the pits.
Well, he did lose a lot of speed with that slide heading into the final sector. That would have probably killed about half a second of his lap, which could have been the difference between a top three and putting him all the way down in currently P8. But I'm seeing by the end of the session, we'll likely be looking at P14. So that's just a rough projection anyway. What it does mean, though, is he's back into the pits. But we are seeing a lot more drivers now heading out onto the circuit as that dry line has begun to form. Drivers who have been staying up until this point completely marooned in the pit lane are starting to come out, like the likes of Louis Welch in the Sauber.
Indeed, Louis did a decent job so far on that first corner. He did a decent turn one, but then again, obviously, still trying to get used to those wet conditions as Mirko gets the fastest lap at 50.604. Liam Stevens takes it by 0.02 of a second with a 50.602, and Louis also gone purple in that first set of the track. He's getting better and better as the seconds come through, and I believe that the rain has stopped, or at least it's very, very minimal, because on Louis' screen here, I can't see any rain coming down onto the circuit. So maybe now, this is the moment the drivers are waiting for. Those waiting for the track to get drier, and hopefully in the next minute or so, we could see some dry tyres come out into the circuit. We can see at the moment, I don't think anyone has got any selected. Yes, we do. Valentin Tarver has got some selected on his car, but hasn't yet headed out of the pits. So, well, this could be an interesting end to qualify. 8 minutes to go. And when the track getting drier and drier, pole position will probably be the last one to cross the line at this point.
You wait until about the 5-minute mark. Then we are going to see an absolute flurry of drivers. If they haven't gone out by that point, then they will be. Because that is going to be the stage where, presuming no more rain is falling down, the dry line has formed, the track is already starting to sort of breathe a little bit more, and is going to be a lot grippier for those slick tires. It's going to actually have something instead of just hydroplaning across. So you're seeing that these inters are dispersing. Still quite a lot of water from the spray that they're kicking up. But there you go. Louis Welch is heading into the pits despite being on a good run, because he knows the money is all in those slick laps that are about to come through.
Indeed, as well, we can see a few more cars now heading down in towards the final few corners. Reese Linton being the first one, our race winner back in Australia, did a superb job to get himself to victory, and we'll see if he can do the same again here tonight. Make it back to back for Reese Linton up to the line. What will it be? It will be to the top there by 0.6 of a second to 50.040. So we know the track is getting drier and drier. Pole position now between P1 and P2 is separated by 0.6 of a second, and the provisional pole earlier on is now 0.9 off the best time. So we know the track's getting better. The rain has stopped on circuit, so we'll see that a few of these drivers probably heading back in towards the pits, like Kai Pearson and Bradley Holdham, who are currently on lap times at the moment. So I can see them peeling back in because they want to get themselves onto a set of soft tyres and see what they can do in the next part of quali. And weirdly, Phil McKee's gone back out onto circuit, but on a set of inters. You would have thought by now he'd be waiting in the pits to go into a set of softs.
Yeah, and I find that a little bit curious, but I think we are still going to see drivers push, even in these interconditions. They want a safe bet. They want a banker lap. They need something stable that they can lean on. So even if it is an optimal pace, certainly in the case of Phil McKee, 59.2, he's going to want a solid banker before he thinks about making the gamble on those slicks. Quite a few drivers are sat in the pits with them. They're waiting to go out on the softs. They're just waiting for that crossover point where the track has lost that grease layer that still makes the slicks ineffective. But once it's gone, and I think in fact if we just hang on the pits a little bit longer, we might just see one of these cars come out, because I don't think anyone is on a fast.
No, no, there is one car. That is Jan Halliday. He's up by a second in the middle set, so he's looking to pop himself on towards a 49.9. So we'll see if he finishes the lap, but he could also be going back in towards the pits because he knows it's getting dry very, very shortly. He heads down now in towards box one, then in towards the bus stop chicane at the final couple of corners. What does Jan Halliday choose to do? He has a bit of a slide, so he'll go back into the pits. Very nice lap from the Aston Martin. So that will be his run on the Inter's probably over. We've got Bradley Holdham coming through in towards the first few corners of the second sector. He's on a 150.761. Reese Linton also going to be heading back in towards the pits now, off of his pole position that time at the moment, but I'm sure that will be beaten once we see the soft tyres be in use. And we can see now half the grid in the pits have got the soft selected, but they're all going to wait until the last possible second to get onto the track so they can get the best lap time possible, because at the moment the track is nowhere near optimal dry conditions. You could drive on it in the softs, but it wouldn't be that much of an improvement. So they're going to wait till the rain's completely stopped, wait until the track completely dries up, and then they'll be going out for a lap.
Yeah, any second now, I think we're going to see drivers start to pour out of that pit lane. On board with, Holdham. In terms of Jan Halliday's lap end, I'm not sure if that was a mistake or possibly the most stylish pit entry I have ever seen. Because that drift, that slide into the pit lane, it looked like it was sort of perfectly orchestrated to just not even require any steering. He throttled that fully into perfect line of the pit lane. That was points for style, for sure.
Indeed, and Phil McKee gone back out onto circuit on a set of inters. So is the track not good enough yet for those intermediate tyres? Now, what does that do to those who have already, who have not set laps? Because, this is a little bit odd. Only 3 minutes left to go, and the track doesn't look that much drier than it was before. So the question is Fion playing the right tactic by taking it back out onto the intermediate tyres? Because everyone else pretty much has swapped over to a set of soft bar a couple of others. We've got one of the Red Bulls heading out as well. That'll be Andres Lopez in the Red Bull. He's going to be the first to gamble it out on the soft tyres. Now, this could be one of those situations, Sappy, where literally anyone can be on pole. We know it's possible either way, but at the moment, no one's actually quickest because these laps at first, the 1 minute 50s and 1 minute 51s mean nothing. You might as well have no lap time.
Yeah, and that is a very real prospect of seeing this leaderboard completely change on a whim. I know I said about the 5-minute mark, people rushing out. I was mistaken. It's going to be the 3-minute mark because people are really leaving it right to the very last second. They want to cross that finish line at 0:01 to get their laps done. They want to leave nothing to chance. They want every single ounce of grip they can extract from this track. The longer they can leave it, the better. And we're seeing that in force right now. In the space of me just saying these last few sentences, we've gone from the entire grid in the pit lane to the entire grid now on track. That pit wall is stark empty.
Now, that's a gamble. Joris Krozen is out on the intermediate tyres, and he was the last one to go out. He's right at the back of the grid. So that is really an odd strategy there from the Mercedes to take a set of intermediate tyres. We've got Phil McKee beginning his lap. He's heading down into turn 1, and we'll see. Are the intermediates the way to go? I don't think they are, but his DRS has been enabled. But we'll see. You know, they could prove us wrong. Theon and Joris could, but obviously with the other 17 drivers on the set as soft, it'll be quite hard for them to do something about it. As we can see, Theon now headed up in towards Eau Rouge and Radion, and this time he will get a dose of DRS down towards the Lake of Chicane. Could gain him quite a few tenths of a second here, maybe even a second on his lap time as he heads down now in towards the break zone of Lake shortly. And King Golden up the first to get the 5-place grid penalties, which means we'll have a restart after qualifying.
Yep, and Cameo's going to be following suit also with a 5-place grid penalty, and unfortunately being unable to switch it off. That means we are going to take an extended gap in between quali and the race in order to set up a new session negating these penalties. So let's see how Theon McKee is going to react, because he's going to be coming up into traffic by the time of either Blanchimont or the bus stop chicane. He could be coming up to the massive queue of drivers, and I think he's feeling kind of wary. I don't see him pushing as hard some of these apexes. I think he's maybe thinking he's made a mistake.
Yeah, definitely, because he's going to be caught up with all of these, but it's also a perfect opportunity for him to give someone a qualifying ban if they get in his way. So, we can get someone penalised here, and I think it's always silly to go out that early, because people are going to start heading out when you're on a lap. So, what's the point of going out now? Because you can see them all into the bus stop. Theon will not make this lap work, surely not, because they're all into the break zone now as he heads in towards it. Yeah, and I don't think anyone could be... And they're all going side by side at the final corner, and Theon spun someone round nearly. I don't think anyone can really be blamed there, apart from the driver who's gone out that early.
Yeah, well, so Theon's going to get 48.3, but I have a very strong feeling that we are not going to be seeing. Although, Nico Benz, in all of that chaos, he did not make the start-finish line before the flag. So he is not going to get a quali time. He could potentially be in last place because of the collisions up ahead. Either way, we jump up a little bit further. We jump to the front of the queue. And who do we see? Who do we see? We see Kian. He's going to be the pace setter. He's going to be the one to beat.
Indeed, the track is already looking a little bit more dry. There's still damp patches. There's still little bits where it could definitely be improved, but the track is getting better and better. We can see now Kian coming through in towards Pouon, now in towards the Lafanya chicane, also known as the Piff Path chicane, and we'll see what he can do through this section. You can see now more confidence in the car, being able to throw it onto the apexes, onto the corners a lot quicker and a lot more nicely. He heads down now in towards the next part of the section, in towards Code de Paul Fair. He's up by 7 seconds on his lap, which will put him onto around a 1 minute 43. So it's, there's still, the track's still nowhere near what it should be. But I can't see this working out for King, because all those behind have got better conditions. But then again, Sappy, they're all following each other through the sections. So they're also going to be compromised in that sense. Yeah, so they are going to get a bit of dirty air, but they'll also get some slipstream. It's a give or a take. Depends on the section, as if they can get it right. So first up, you've got Kian Gonadot, 41.8. Absolutely smashing the intertimes out of the water. Then you've got a few more drivers who are going to be coming through. You've got, Bradley Holdham, Jan Halliday, Julian Klafferbog, Daniel Koya, Mirko Suriano. Everyone is flying through, but Louis Welch,
is going to be the one on top right now. Can anyone challenge it? Last one's through. Tyvard. I don't think Tyvard got a valid lap. I didn't see them jump on the board. Louis Welch, in the space of about 10 to 15 seconds, this grid has completely gone upside down. And you can look at it right there. Everyone on the soft compound. What a difference it's made.
Yeah, and the gap there between, first and 12th is 1.3 seconds. Obviously, is Louis Welch on pole position. Brilliant there from the pad goat himself to take pole for the Belgian Grand Prix. Ahead of Julian Klaffenbach in second in the Haas car, a little bit ahead of Daniel Coyte in third for McLaren. Brilliant job from him. And then Reese Linton, last week's winner in the top four. Marco Soriano in fifth. Jan Herde in P6. Kean Godendorp in P7. Bradley Holdham in eighth. Kemmel in ninth and Tiger Hardy rounded out the top 10. Then we have Liam Stevens in P11. Sergio Spino in P12. Joris Kroos in P13. Fionn McKee in P14. Lekomsky in P15, followed by Tyvard, Pearson, Nico Benz, and Andres Lopez. The full 19. Four drivers there, not getting naps on the board. But Nico Benz, obviously, he finished second last time in Australia, looking like a really quick driver. He misjudged it, getting to the line a little bit too late. And I think it was literally by a second. Because I saw him at the line, and he was gone. And big show for him, isn't it?
I don't even think he misjudged it, though. You saw the chaos that Fionn McKee went into when he came into the bus stop chicane. It's very possible that he did genuinely not have anywhere to go. He got stuck behind that traffic, which ended up seeing him go into the drop zone. But then we also had a few, like Tyvard, for instance, who did cross the line last and invalidated that lap. So that one shot that they had, that didn't go for anything. And that's why you set a banker. That is proof right there. Because if nothing else, because we had Inters runners who still set times. So it could have secured maybe a P12, a P13, if he had set a banker on those Inters. So we will see how it plays out. But what we do know for now is we're going to take a short break while we get the new lobby set up and you get a chance to hear a word from our sponsors and our friends. And welcome back, folks. Thank you for your patience as we get the new lobby sorted to deal with the illegal blocking, get all the grid set up, and then we'll be in the race good and proper. Don't forget, we got our friends with the likes of both GT Omega and Sim Racing Center. So if you're interested in any GT Omega kit, be that shares, be that say any other peripherals, do head over to their site, use code PSGL for a healthy discount, and also head over to Sim Racing Center for anything related to setups, anything related to coaching services for the game. If you want to get better, if you want to run with the best of the best, head over to them. Again, code PSGL for a discount at checkout. And where do we even begin with that qualifying? Because it completely inverted.
It did, and obviously Louis Welch being on pole. No offense to Louis, but I didn't expect to see him in the top 5. Never mind on pole position. So brilliance, of course, from Louis. If you remember last season, in season 35, he did take a victory and I believe a pole position. But apart from that, he scored no points. So let's hope that isn't the same. And if he does score points today and he does win, he doesn't have the unluckiness for the rest of the season. So, it is great to see Louis back on pole, back towards the top of the grid. But qualifying, I can't remember who's there because it was just lap time after lap time coming through. But obviously, yet again, Fionn and Joris taking the Inters. I don't know why they thought that could work because the track was drying up. The track was dry, and obviously, we know obviously Yoris is part of race culture. There's another 5 in the lobby. Surely one of those would have said to him, right, yeah, the track is dry. Go out on a set of softs. Don't go out after, like 20 seconds after me on a set of intermediate tyres. So a little bit weird why he went with that strategy. But I suppose it is what it is, and they chose it. It didn't quite work. But obviously, Theo McKee as well was on board with him once he finished his lap. And I think it was safe to say he's quite annoyed, because he kind of went with a bit of a banzai move into turn 1 when he wasn't starting a new lap. So a little bit naughty there from Theon, and we'll see if that gets seen afterwards. I think it was one of the McLarens. He kind of pointed a little bit off onto the runoff. At turn 1, obviously, would have lost him a lot of time. So obviously, we'll see what emerges with that. But obviously, it's still a big shame for him getting blocked then towards that final corner. But it's hard to give anyone a penalty, isn't it, Sappy? Because everyone's there. You can't give everyone a 5-place grid penalty. You can't give everyone a qualifying ban because it was like you had cars literally going 3 wide out the final corner. The 2 Ferraris were following each other in towards the bus stop chicane on their runs.
Yeah, everyone was racing to get past that flag. And there was a big issue with everyone gambling on that final lap and everyone leaving it to the very last second. I think what we saw with the likes of those who went out on inters anyway is perhaps a rationale of, okay, I've got the safe run, I'm not going to gamble it, I'm not going to lose the run, and I will still get a healthy couple of seconds. So at the very least, if the ones who get softs, I know they're going to beat me. But if I can get a good inter-run, that puts me still in a very safe position for this race.
Indeed, of course. And with the weather now being dynamic, whatever plans the drivers had before in terms of it being wet or drying towards the race, that's gone. It's back to the questionable situation you can see on the game. It's literally a question mark because no one knows what the weather's going to be. So yet again, it could be something else that throws us up into the air because the drivers can't prepare now. They don't know what they're going to be facing. It's a bit of an unknown. It's like, right, you're loading, you've got 30 seconds to prepare, it's wet, and you're scrambling around, what do we do, what do we do, what do we do? Do we go into the inters, do we go to wets, do we pit, or do we not pit, do we go, there's so many different things the drivers have to consider if it goes towards wet conditions in a race. That's where you kind of see the best separated from the good drivers, because the best, they can deal with the pressurized situation, they can calm themselves down and be like, right, we're going to do this, this, and this, and we'll go for it. Newer drivers that might not be comfortable with the wet, are absolutely afraid because they don't like the wet conditions. And of all tracks, it's Spa. It is one of the worst tracks to drive in the wet. It's absolutely horrible, especially the Eau Rouge Raidillon Hill. You never know what to do. You never know how much throttle to use. You never know how much brake to use because it's such a weird section of track, isn't it? It's like being such an uphill part of the circuit.
Yeah, say the contrast on it is really what sets drivers off. And to be blunt, a lot of training is done without any camber.
You right, Staffy? Right, do you want to continue on? I'll continue on from that. I'll let him have his bit of his coughing fit. But obviously, going towards this race now, it's dry. So ignore everything I just said about the wet weather tyres because it's going to be dry all the way through. You back? Oh, he's gone.
Okay, we're back.
You right, Sappy?
Apologies. I am coming off of an illness. And it looks like you decided to pick now to flare up in a very big way. So, I do apologise for that brief break in apparently my ability to breathe. But we're good. We're good.
Oh dear me, Sappy, if it's not a technical issue, it's one of us who has an issue.
I am the skill issue this time.
Indeed. So whoever gave you that illness, you have all rights to do everything you want to them in a bad way because of making you stuff up on the live stream. But we're going shortly for the start of the race. Obviously, we've got the 19 drivers in, 8 of the 22. And Frank says, why make my pen on camera? I don't know. Sometimes I just twiddle around with a pen and I'll just sit there with it like that. So I don't know why I do it, but we do. And well, 10 seconds to go. And let's know in the chat who you think will take victory. It's Louis Welch on pole, Julian Klaffenbach in second position. And well, a key thing to bring about Julian is the fact of his internet isn't very nice to him. I know last time he had an internet connection issue and died pretty much on the circuit. in Baku in E-Series had an internet connection and collided with thin air. So I'm hoping he has the luck on his side today, and he doesn't need to worry in that sense of his internet having a big mental breakdown and he ends up dropping to the back of the... A little bit like what happened in another league to Otis Lawrence, who went from being 4th to 18th after one corner. So hopefully it can all go well for him, but we'll see what the top two can produce here in this race. And we now have Louis left to load into the session before we head our way through in towards this race. And Sappy, you're here with us now. I saw you muted. I've seen you unmute. So you back in working order?
I am back in one piece. Throat notwithstanding. It's all right. I'll get a new one later. But we are back trackside. Again, apologies for that one. But we are all good. We are all back. And it's time to go racing. And it's going to be a good race indeed. We saw the fireworks that is qualifying. We saw a little bit of a conflict, a bit of a back and forth, whether it is in fact going to be dry or whether it's going to be dynamic. But we have our answer. It's a dry race. It's a dry track. It's going to be a heck of a fight with these first few corners. But let's see what happens. Let's see what these racers can do.
Indeed, and as I've said before, it's Louis ahead of Julian, but the whole grid is very spread out. It's in different positions because of that whole kerfuffle at the end with the dry and, with it going dry and all people in different positions on circuit. It does make this race start a little bit weird of where people are starting. So yet again, we're in a situation where we don't really know who's best at judging qualifying because we didn't get a fully dry, normal qualifying session. So obviously it's Reece Linton who won back in Australia ahead of Nico Benz, who starts down in P17. So he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to improve himself and get himself back into that championship fight. I know we're only in round 2, but if you're fighting for a championship, the last thing you will do is make a mistake in any part of the races. But we can see on our boards we have 4 and we have 5 red lights here for the Belgian Grand Prix. All the lights are out and they head down towards turn 1. Louis Welch on pole. Julian in second place. They're heading towards that first corner hard for the top 2. Julian tries to go around the outside. Can he make a walk at the back of Louis? No, he can't because Daniel Carr up the inside. They go with 3 wide on the exit of turn 1 up towards Eau Rouge and Marion. This could get messy. Race. Julian and Daniel going 3 wide in towards Eau Rouge. This is not going to end well for one of them. They go 3 wide. It'll be Julian who gets to move ahead of Race, and Daniel drops down to P5. Mirko into P4 and Camille now into P7. And Jean Harvey had a terrible start down towards that uphill corner.
It's looking like absolute chaos in that mid-pack as people just try to find a little bit of space. They haven't got anywhere to go. They're looking for opportunities. You can see Soriano on the side of Koya looking both for the same space that they're trying to go. People are shuffling left, right and centre. We've got Shimalakomsky going all the way to the back of the field. I think he ran out of a little bit of a room, but down the hill, heading into some of these corners. Drivers are just taking every inch of track they can get. They want these positions. They want them now. But we have seen a casualty. There is a yellow in second sector. That's Fionn McKee.
Indeed, and he also reset the track on the second. I'm not sure if that's a penalty or not, but if it is, a big shame for him. If not, he's got himself a little bit lucky. We can see the moves being made everywhere. Jan Hardijk on the back of Bradley Holdham through in towards this middle sector. Couldn't find a move there. Joris Krozen ahead of Nico Benz, who had a good start up into P14. Sergio Sobrino dropping down or trying to get ahead here of Tycho Hardy. Couldn't quite get the move done there. In towards Curve de Paul Frapp. You can see near the top though, Mirko Soriano looking for a move here on the back of Julian Klavenbach. We can also see the top 2 fighting. Louis under pressure here from Reece Linton. Soft versus hards. I think we all know how that one will end, and it will be Reece Linton who takes the lead ahead of Louis, ahead of Julian and Mirko. Those two having a bit of a scrap on the exit of the bus stop chicane. They head back down towards turn 1. Mirko ahead of Julian, but Julian's got that inside line. Camel behind as well. He could also look to try and make a move here around the outside of Julian. Goes for the outside move. Julian cuts him off. He's now under pressure from King Gondorp here for P5.
Yeah, and say Godendorp is in a bit of a tight spot here. He needs to decide. Is he going to commit? Is he going to yield? Stachero is going to be going up ahead. He's going to be committing to the attack on Klaffenbach, but it's not quite going to be fully sticking all the way. He's going to still go for it, though. He's going to get a bit more of a run on the Camel Straight. Godendorp's going to tuck in behind. Both of them getting past the Haas. Can they confirm the move? I don't know, because it's looking like that is going to see Klaffenbach actually take a bit more of a safe approach. So many drivers going aggressive. Klaffenbach's doing a bit more of his self-preservation in order to think about the later race, which I think is a good move.
Indeed, and with these soft runs starting to pull away here from the hard runs, this could be good for the likes of Louis Welch, as long as he can keep himself within a second of this whole trend. That could really help him once we come towards the pit stops, as he'll have such an advantage on, in time on those 7th and down who are on the hards, of course, who got dropped at the start of this race. We can see as well Nico Benzo back down to P17, so obviously something's gone wrong for him on the track, as he's now under pressure probably from Kai Pearson shortly, who's also on a set of hard, so he's also right at the back on the worst tyres at this current point, so we don't expect to see him really move much up in the race at this current time, but he will do once these soft tyres and mediums start to drop off a little bit. We can see obviously Mirko Soriano looking to catch into the back of Louis Welch as they head down in towards the bus stop chicane, but no, not really close enough at all for Mirko to try and make an overtake. We can see as Bradley Holdham looking to getting on the back of Daniel Koya in towards the bus stop. He's about a 10th back, but decided not to send the move. We can also see Sergio Sabrina looking for him now, and Tycho Hardy went for it last time out, couldn't get it done. Now he's going to go for it again down to turn 1, but Lukomsky now also joining the crew. He dropped back quite quickly at the start of the race, so he's had a really good redemption in these past 2 laps as Sergio goes to the inside of Tycho. Simon joins him, and I don't think there's much that these hard tyre runners can do now to defend against the soft Sappy.
Yeah, the soft tyres are just on a different plane, especially here at Spa. They can leverage so much more grip, especially through some of the uphill and downhill sections. They can use those tyres so much harder, extract so much more pace out of them. Then the best thing the hard runners can really do is just hold firm, hold their position, try and put on a defense where you can, but don't be over aggressive with it, because you will just yield the position anyway. Your strength as a hard runner is going to come from your longevity, from getting the miles down on the tyres that you need to do, and then capitalising on the second half.
Indeed, it is. We can see Tycho looking to lose another position here in this race, this time to Joris Krozen, who's in P13, started 13th, of course, and now looking to get himself up into that top 12, looking for a move there in towards P1. Knows he wasn't close enough at that point. We'll have to look for it down towards the bus stop chicane, but obviously with this track being so long, the softs don't do as long as they, as many laps as they would around other circuits and tracks like Austria. They'd be fine for 10 laps. Whereas here, about 5-6 laps in, that's when they're starting to drop off. So these soft runners need to get the moves done quickly. They can't wait around. They can't wait for the opportunity to be presented to them. They've got to create the opportunities to make the overtakes down on the circuit. We can see further up ahead, Louis Welch still got the lead, of course, ahead of Reece Linton, and Mirko Soriano in third, and Camel making it through the first couple of laps this time now in P4 behind his teammate Keane Godendorp, looking to close in as well to try and make a bit of a lunge and attack on the back of the Ferrari. But we can see further back now, obviously the Sabre of Bradley Holdham looking like he's actually able to close into the back of Julian Klaffenbach. So maybe Sappy, with the fact the Haas on the hards is at the back of the soft, it's kind of led the other hards to catch up and get themselves back within that 1 second.
Yeah, and that 1 second is going to play a big factor. Ironically, you look at some of the tyre scaling in terms of how they wear, how much grip they provide. It's almost as if you're running super soft, like in some previous seasons where you had to say all those different tyre compounds, your supers, your hypers. Reece Linton is going to be up. Louis Welch going to be dropping down a couple positions. And Nico Benz has retired in the pit lane.
So it makes me think, has he got damage? Did he have damage there? Because he lost more positions, didn't he? He lost position to, I think it was high, and then he was pretty much at the back of the grid. So we must have had damage somewhere. Did Nico Benz, and last time's podium sitter now into the pits and retire. Big shame it is there for Nico Benz. So he's going to have a lot of work to do next week in I think for Monaco we're at next week. It is, isn't it, Sappy?
Believe so. But yeah, Nico Benz has just gone from bad to worse here. He didn't get a quali run at all, which put him right down at the bottom of the order. And then, of course, you have what happens in the race. And I think it wouldn't be surprised to say that Nico just took a look at the race, took a look at how his qualifying went, and saying, you know what, I've had enough for tonight. More bad luck, and I think I would throw something.
Yeah. And it is a big shame, but then again, there's still more time for him to recover in the next rounds and get himself some more deserved points. We can see as they head down now towards the bus stop chicane once again. Louis Welch is in a very comfortable position. He's the leading hard runner, and we know that near the end of the race, the hard to medium or soft strategy tends to be the best one. So Louis could be in a very favoured position if he pits off of his hards on the right lap and does it perfectly. If not, it could cost him, but if he does it perfectly, he could be on an absolutely brilliant strategy here tonight. We can see as well Lukomsky making a move ahead of Tycho Hardy. That was also Andres Lopez making a move on Valentin Divar, dropping him down to P16. Big shame for Valentin to enter his first race and unfortunately not get a qualifying time down, and also not really make anything work in the race. So we can see Mirko Soriano make the lead. We can see Louis Welch into second. Reece Linton looking to start in behind in P3. Obviously couldn't really make a move at all. Could the Alpine Benizet lost that DRS? And Camel Stature right behind. So this top 4 battle could get very spicy. And the last thing they want to do here, Sappy, is have a bit of a collision or a crash, because that will really ruin the momentum of all of them there.
Yeah, and it could really put a damper on what, for some, will be a good initial run in the championship. It's very tough to build that race-to-race momentum once again. Right now, though, I am very impressed with Louis Welch. He is public enemy #1 in the eyes of the soft runners, because he's there, slap bang in the middle of this strategy, causing massive disruption to their ability to gain a gap on the rest of the field on, at this point in time, in a vastly inferior tyre compound. They can't leverage the advantage. Welch is right there. He's being a very difficult driver to pass, and this is going brilliantly in terms of his longer strategy.
It is indeed. So, it could be a win here for Louis. Poulter win. I'm sure he'd like that indeed, but I'm sure if I say that will happen, he will get a big curse and will not finish in the points. So we're not going to say he's going to get the win otherwise, because I don't want to curse him and get him angry at me afterwards. As we can see, Tyler still fights at the back with Andres Lopez, who's dropped down a few positions. He must have made a mistake somewhere. Tiger Hardy still arguing with Simon Lukowski for P11. Those two having more of an argument now, which makes me think now the Hards getting back now into more of their groove. They're looking to try and launch ahead and get some moves on the soft runners, because obviously Shimon got past, but now it's Tycho looking to get past Simon again. So maybe the Hards are looking to be a little bit more stronger at this point in the Grand Prix. We can see Ian Halliday in P9 looking to get himself ahead of the back of Daniel Koya, who obviously had a very good qualifying, but seemed to drop down a lot, didn't he, after that race start, and lost positions to both Bradley, Julian and Louis.
Yeah, and it is going to be a bit of a fight and a bit of a balancing act of strategy and pace to get himself back where he needs to be. You can see initial trades between Siriano and Welch, but Welch is going to retain his P2 spot for the moment. And looking at this mid-pack here, they've got a bit of a choice to make, because you've got hard runners mixed in with softs, a couple of medium runners near the back, and so this is where the tyre strategy is going to play such a big factor. The hard runners can really run out the soft tyres completely and still have plenty of mileage left on them. So the soft runners need to decide, okay, am I going to try and extract just one more lap, see if I can eke out just that tiny bit more advantage, maybe go onto the mediums if I can push them hard enough, or am I going to play it safe, go soft hard, and then just try and claw back on traditional?
It's a hard one to judge, isn't it? Because you never know what strategy is going to work, because you never know what strategies other drivers are doing. So it's a bit of a weird situation if you're on the softs at the moment. I think we all know if you're on the hard, you're most likely going to go towards a set of mediums. Some drivers near the back might go towards a set of softs. We can see Julian Klaverbach looking to gain in on the back of Keane, going up in towards the bus stop. And you can see then Keane actually went defensive. He knows that Julian is on his tail. He knows that these hards are getting quicker and quicker as the laps come on. We can see Tiger Hardy yet again looking for an overtake for P11 on circuit. This time, yet again, couldn't quite just get it there ahead of Szymon Lekomski. He goes to the outside at turn 1, has better grip. Can he get it on power on the exit, the corner? He's going to go side by side, but just couldn't quite get himself alongside the back of Lekomski. So we know the hards are getting better, but at the moment they're pretty much at a bit, they're pretty much equal. They're not good enough to make moves, but they are certainly getting better. We can see though, Julian Klavenbach with a bit of ear rest to use, goes to the outside of Kian. Louis Welch takes lead ahead of Reese. Mirko goes down to P3 now in this race, and we can see Kian ahead of Julian, Julian ahead of Kian, but he goes off circuit. He completely misses a corner, and then drops down back behind Kian and brings Bradley into this.
Yeah, Bradley's right in the middle of this whole game. He's got an ideal position in a way, because he can watch these drivers duke it out and fight, and almost like a vulture, he can pick up the scraps as they continue to scrap.
Indeed, and we'll see what he can do. We'll see if he can make any more moves forward so far, but Julian went for a move, and he went a little bit too deep on the outside, and obviously then he couldn't really recuperate it, get himself back onto track without taking out the Williams, so he obviously went off track and come back on in, I suppose it was a safely-ish manner to get himself back onto the circuit at such a high speed. But we can obviously see now the soft runners probably starting soon to think about that pit stop. Around lap 10, I think that's when we'll see most of them make that pit stop onto a set of mediums or a set of hard tyres. So they all head down, yes, again, towards Blanchimont, down at turn 19. And it's still going to be Louis ahead of Reese, ahead of Mirko. Remember, Reese won last time out in Australia, and Mirko got third. So these two looking very, very strong to look to get back-to-back podiums here in PSGL Season 36 PCF2. We can see further along, we can see Jan Halliday under pressure from Sergio Sabrina, who's in the top 10 now, but is on the soft. He's also going to be thinking about having that undercut and pitting earlier than those on the hards, of course. We can see Kai Pearson making a move on Liam Stevens now, so the medium's also looking to drop off, and Theo McKean now hitting off these softs. He's going to be surely just trying to do something different here, Sappy.
Yeah, well, he was quite a significant distance behind the rest of the grid. He was about 6.5 seconds. So that is going to mean he has to do something violently different in order to get any kind of leverage on the rest of the pack. So he goes onto the hards. He's going to take him to the end of the race. We see just in the distance, Shimon and Joris are going to be trading spots as some of the other drivers are all getting a little bit dicey as Kai Pearson gets very close to the back of them. Shimon, interestingly, he's got his recharge lights on. I think he's out of juice. He burned everything in the early game.
Yeah, and that isn't ideal once you make the pit stops, because then when everyone else has also got battery, you've got nothing to use, and you're just going to get dumped on a straight. So a big shame, of course, for having to burn all your battery earlier on, but for some people, they need to do so to make those initial moves. So it's all about what you sacrifice. Is it position or battery? And obviously, in Shimon's case, it will be the battery that he sacrificed there, at the start of this race. So, it's definitely not the most ideal situation for him, but anyway, he can get himself through it. Many drivers can work through it, so I'm sure he's got the skills to do so. We can see Jan Halliday yet again edging closer to the back of Daniel Koya, but just can't find an overtake, can't get himself alongside enough to send a move on the McLaren without costing both of them time, which is the last thing that he wants to do in this scenario. We can see Cian Gunduk gaining into the back of Camel Stasher, and we'll see this time round, do any of them pit going on towards lap 9 of 22. They'll obviously complete 8 laps on these softs. Does anyone go in for a bit of an early gamble here? Any early birds here off the soft tyres? No, they all say it yet again for one more lap. Andres Lopez arguing with the other Red Bull of Liam Stevens into the final corner as well. Bit of contact on the exit, and I think Andres has got the move done on Liam. Yes, he has. They go side by side to turn one, but Liam not going to fight that one much whatsoever. And now I've stopped to think here, was the medium strategy the right way to go, Sappy? Because they've not really made any effort to, well, I'm not saying they haven't tried, but they haven't really got any moves, have they, really, above the field?
Yeah, really, you'd be wanting to see them around sort of P8, P9, because they should be ahead of some of the hard runners, behind some of the softs, and then we've got the anomalies like Louis Welch. But the main thing is, as you see a bit up ahead, you got some drivers who are really duking it out, trying to go to the left, to the right. We've got Godendorf and Klaffenbach going for a bit of a battle as well, with Klaffenbach currently sitting in P5 and being the sort of second hard runner to really displace this top order of soft drivers. In fact, Camille, he just saw a bit of a snap on the rear. I think those softs are starting to go. But the mediums are looking like they either need to commit to the hards, which I think they might do, to be honest. I don't think it's viable for them to push all the way to the softs, because they will lose a lot on the later end of the medium stint, and they can't really lose much more. So I think they're just going to play it a bit more safely, a bit more stable, and then try and get some positions back on people who make a gamble.
Indeed, as we can see now, Julian looking for a move on Camel, and what happened down at Lacon was Cian did exactly what Julian did, just went really deep and nearly took out the back of the Ferrari. And then obviously Julian got himself through up the inside in towards Malmedy corner. So nice lap from Julian to get himself into that top 5 once again now on the hards, and he was looking for a second to get himself ahead of Camel, but backed out at a later stage. We can see that'll be Camel and Cian into the pit lane off of their soft tyres now. I think also one behind went in, 2 behind going. That's Sergio and Shimon Legomsky. So we'll see what tyres they choose. Surely it'll be mediums at this point in the race. They pitted quite early on those softs, or I should say quite late, but pitted, considerably early in the race. It will be mediums for those 4 indeed. So we'll see what they can do with that. Obviously, we can see Andres and Liam have took their tyres 9 laps, so they can get these easily to the end of this race. But hey, comfortably, they will get to the end. And this time now, Jan is on the back of Daniel and looking for an overtake. Went to the outside line, and Daniel cut him off. But you can see here, Jan, he's kind of been held up here by the McLaren, it seems.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much of an opportunity to go anywhere. He did try and go for that move, but Koya defended that, I think, very well. He just used enough battery to get the edge out, and they both do have DRS, so there's not much in the way of advantage that Jan Halliday can exploit. I think at this point in time, it's best he stays back for a couple of laps, because he can surely gain some positions off a track advantage anyway. But Valentin Tijvard, first driver to get an on-track track limits warning.
Yeah, big shame there for Tijvard. Then again, he's been running at the back the whole time. I don't think it was really on much of a course for points anyway. But still, it is a big shame to also get yourself a penalty at the same time. So big shame to see for Valentin in his first race here this season. I'm sure he'll be able to commit to many, many more as the season gets on. But obviously the top 3, still Reese Linton and Mirko on the soft, with Louis Welch in the middle on the set. The hards will probably see Reese, Mirko and Joris pit probably this lap or next lap off of the set of soft towards a set of medium tyres. The gap between Camel and Liam, obviously being 10.7 seconds, meaning those guys are comfortably clear of some of those who are still yet to pit and probably will come out ahead of anyone who pits after this lap. We can see Reese and Mirko there into the pit lane along with Joris, of course. As we can see, Bradley Holden. What's happened to Julian?
Yeah, Julian. Something's
Oh.
gone wrong there. Something has gone very wrong. I think he's having a control issue because he's seemingly lost a massive amount of pace.
Lag again. Lag. He's lagged back.
Oh no. His connection's gone all over the place. He's struggling hard to fight that.
Oh, and what a shame for Julian. I think he noticed it, and that's why he pulled over. I said it at the start of the race. He's going to have that happen to him. He's going to have an issue. If he, obviously it happened multiple times before. Big shame for Clafford here, who's going to now looking to score no points in this race here. Big shame for the Haas.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but say at least he did do the right thing in pulling to the side. To say it shows sportsmanship, shows class. The fact that he's going to pull to the side, he's not going to let other races be compromised by his sort of situation. So big respect to him there. Unfortunately, it has happened, but integrity.
Of course, and now we can get ready to see more moves being made. So, Camel obviously got that net race lead ahead of Kian and Reese in third. Reese is in a very good position along with Mirko Soriano. They pitted a lap later, got better tyres, but also within a comfortable second of those who are running the top two. So they could also looking to make a late charge here for victory tonight. We'll see what they can do and try and apply pressure on Camel and Kian sitting at first and second. We can see at the top it's still going to be 1-2 here for the Sabre team. Louis Welch ahead of Bradley Holden in second, and Daniel Coyot round at the top three with Jan Hade right behind Jan yet again. Still looking to make moves here on the McLaren, and this time he bails early. He wants to go for an early pit stop here, probably onto a set of medium tyres. And now, with these drivers going at that late, Sap, it makes me think, are some of those thinking about soft tyres here?
I think they are. I think it's going to be a judgment call. About lap 13, 14, I think some drivers are going to start jumping onto the softs, seeing if they can extend them to the end, because by that point, they'll have the track position. And pace deficit or not, a key thing to remember is when we're talking track position, when we're talking outright pace, you always want to be in the position ahead, because for the person behind, there's a crash. No, that is a local yellow. That is for Klaffenbach once again. He's pulled over. He's having more connection issues. So there's no crash to be seen, just a slow car on track.
But it's weird because it looks like the AI is taking over at some points because the wheel's being very junky, which is what the AI wheel does, doesn't it? And you can see behind him is Joris. Big shame here for Julian Klaffenbach, was looking for a possible podium here tonight and now gets nothing else indeed. And yeah, big shame indeed. And you can see obviously that's going to be Joris making a pass on him along with Lekomsky, looking to try and get a pass here with Julian. And yeah, I think he'll retire because there's nothing he can do now. So he's behind everyone who's pitted and he's still yet to pit.
Yeah, so he's stuck there. So his options have kind of diminished very rapidly. Whether he retires or continues the race is, of course, up to him. But say things are looking pretty bleak for his race efforts right now. Back in the net lead, we have ourselves a bit of a battle going on between Kian, Camel, and Reese. So they have looked for the same spots, and it now looks like Kian is going to be leading this charge. Camel is going to be trying to chase it down. Reese Linton not far behind, but he's also got a threat of his own in Soriano, so he's going to have to keep his wits about him. Louis Welch into the pits now. I think he's going to jump on a medium.
We'll see what Louis Welch does. Into the pits he goes. He'll pull over to the right-hand side, and Julian's retired on track. He's left the session, so I believe his internet's completely died there, and it'll be mediums here for Louis Welch. He's going to have a heavy advantage on those who have already pitted, but he will need to catch up and try and get Batson because they're going to be quite far ahead. Once he exits the pit lane, he'll drop behind Jan Hade. He'll drop behind. Oh, he'll be close with it between him and Jan. It will be side by side now. Jan just about gets the move done ahead of Louis, and Joris will be looking to gain in as well. So Louis Welch now a little bit of work to do, but he will have very good ties in order to do so. We can see Mirko Soriano looking for a move here on the back of Reese Linton to make it second and third for Ferrari. Goes to the outside line as we can see Camel take the net lead. It'll be Reese looking to tuck in behind the back of Keane, gets him done ahead of Keane now, so goes into second as Reese Linton, and then Mirko looking to also get himself ahead of Keane Gondorp here. Keane's on the worst tyres, and he's looking to be under a little bit of pressure now from everyone in that top five.
Yeah, and now this is where it really comes to blows. We saw a bit of double overtakes coming out in a couple of laps prior, but now is where things start to really get cooking. Reese Linton, very good position right now to take. He got the double. He's got P9, net P2, all things considered, and short of the other drivers ahead taking their stops and potentially getting a bit of a gap, it's looking like these 5 drivers, from Stasherer to Sabrino, they are looking like they're on a roll.
They are, and they look at the moment like they're unstoppable. They're doing such a good job. But then again, you've got to think all those in that top 5, they're going to pit, but they're going to probably go into soft, so they're going to be absolutely flying at the start of their stint. And obviously, with the softs also being under less fuel, they can go a little bit longer at more pace. So this could be very good depending what they do. We can see Bradley, Daniel, and Kai and Andres all into the pit lane now. What do they choose to go to? I can see softs lurking about. I think a set of mediums lurking about as well. So mixed strategies here for those guys. Obviously, Andres onto the softs, the other 3 onto a set of medium tyres. So a little bit different there from the Red Bull, and we'll see if it can pay off for him.
I think Andres is going to go for a big gamble. He's going to go for a big upswing, like you just said, maximize the advantages of the softs to have a big sprint to the end of the line. We'll see how it pans out for him, but it looks like that plan could pay off big if he gets it right, if he nails these next 5 or 6 laps, and he can really start to make some decisive moves on the competition. Back up to what is now P7 with Mirko Soriano. He's getting really close to the back of Godendorp and looking for his opportunities. He's practically sniffing the diffuser of that Williams.
He is, but he just can't find a move yet. And I think the key thing is here for Mirko, once he gets that move done, he can calm down a bit.
Yeah, and that patience, I know we talked about it a bit before in that pre-race, having the patience, having the racecraft, that difference between, say, some drivers and the drivers that we've got here in F2, it's not necessarily knowing that you can have a gap, because these drivers all have amazing pace. There's no question that there are gaps that they can go for. It's about knowing when to go for the gap. When is the right gap? How big is the right gap? Can they lock in the position for the amount of time that they need to? Or is it better to wait? That's what separates these top drivers. It's that meta game. It's that additional strategy to push them above above some of these tiers and make them the stars of tomorrow. The micro and macro game. But we see Soriano is going to bring it all to a head. He's decided that now is the go time. Heading into the start-finish straight as we start off lap 15. You've got Tyvard and Hardy into the pits. You've got Mirko Soriano making his way into what is now the true standing and is P3. So the Ferraris are going to be P2 and 3 with Reese Linton up top.
Indeed, but look at how quick that gap come down with Louis Welch. He was, 3.5 seconds back once he exited the pits. 2 laps later, he's 1.2 seconds back from the top 5. Louis Welch is absolutely flying now, and he could be someone here who could be looking to try and win here tonight if he can play his cards right. We can see as well, in second place, it'll be, Camel ahead of Reese as he drops down to second. We can see Mirko Soriano in third. He's dropped down behind the back of Reese as well, I believe. As well, we can see Sergio Sabrino looking to back of Kian. Kian's struggling here, Sapper. He's actually struggling quite a lot. Yeah,
I think he has expended a lot of his sort of resource and a lot of his bravery. Although saying that, he's looking pretty healthy. He is in a position where he's on the ropes, he's having to push himself, and he's trying to find the balance between attack and defense. Too strong of an attack to try and get some gap back in, or get a position maybe, and he's going to see himself defenseless against the likes of Sabrino and a closing in Welch. So Welch is coming up to the edge of that second barrier. He's closed that time. He's going to be within detection, so he's going to be a very present threat. And Godendorp is going to be in trouble because as Sabrino is going to be fighting, they are going to be pushing, and that has a massive concertina effect.
Indeed, as we can see, though, that's going to be Mirko Soriano looking for a move here on the back of on the back of racing towards the final couple of corners, but couldn't get the move quite done. But we can see Lecomte's making a move ahead of Kai Pierce, or at least being overtaken by Kai, and also Daniel Kai making a move as well, taking himself into P11. But with obviously Luby getting comfortably within that 1 second, it's also brought Jan Halliday, Joris as well into that 1 second gap, and shortly you'll see the likes of Bradley, Kai, Daniel following in suit. So now we're going to have a long DRS train, and Louis Welch has pretty much been the antagonizer of it. He's got everyone within that 1 second. He's also already on the back of Sergio Sabrino. That gap being 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second as they head into Lake Com. He's going to use a bit of battery. He's going to pull to the inside of Sergio get the move done. Reece Linton takes lead ahead of Mirko, ahead of Camel into third as well, further ahead. But Louis Welch into the top 5. He is going to destroy these guys now in the fourth and higher, because look at that tyre advantage he's got over the others. It's monumental here.
That Sauber power, it's really proving itself right now. And yeah, that is the power of the upset. I knew that he was going to do well as soon as he was up ahead of the soft runners by about lap 4. He had the disruption, he had the pace, and now it's time to translate that into a scenario where he is the one in advantage. So he's 2/10 off the back of Godendorp, who himself is 2/10 off the back of Statera. And while Godendorp is playing a good game, we see a bit of a wobble from that second Ferrari, and that could be an opportunity for both the Williams and the Sauber to make a move.
Indeed, and we'll see now what happens as they head back down towards the bus stop chicane. A little bit of time lost there for Camel, brings Louis and Kian right on his back. Jan Hade making a move ahead of Sergio Sobrino in towards Bonchemont. So Jan Hade also looking to get a decent position here in this race. Can Louis try and send a lunge on the back of the Williams? No, he's not quite close enough then towards the braking zone, but he was quite close, to be fair, once they got in towards that full braking situation. So maybe Louis could look for it down towards turn 1, because he's got battery, he's got the power to use down the straight. Pulls to the inside line. Can he get the mid done ahead of the Williams? No, he backs off. He tries to make Keane go defensive, but Keane doesn't fall for that. He stays on his normal racing line. They exit out to turn 1, and yet again, Keane just can't carry near enough as much speed at all compared to Louis Welch.
Yeah, and say Welch is really showing that he's got these top guys on the ropes. He's looking very strong. But that doesn't mean anyone in this top 4 is out from the fight yet. We're going to go 2. We're going to go 3. Potentially 3 wide here. Nope, that is going to be Soriano pulling out ahead. Statera tucking in behind. The battle rages on, though, with himself and Linton. They're going to be keeping the proximity, keeping the fight alive. Godendorp is going to be slotting himself straight into that battle, and he's going to be trying to take it on the apex. Slip from Linton, though, is going to see contact on the tyres. Louis Welch is now up into P4. Linton's just put himself out of the equation with one crucial mistake.
He has one small mistake down towards that Lake chicane. He's lost 5 positions, so down to P5 is Reece Linton, with Jan Hade up the inside as well, in towards turn 13, and I don't think Reece saw Jan Hade come in there as they head through and towards Stavalo, and that's a bit controversial there from Reece Linton, pushes Jan off the circuit. Jan's got a chance to fight it back again. He's got better tyres here in this situation. He's also going to be looking to fight and get back ahead of the LP as they head back down towards Boxhamon and the bus stop chicane. Still, this race isn't over. You can't call who's going to win, because everyone has got an advantage on each other, and then it's just no one can make moves. So maybe, even though Louis is in P4, the top 3 could still hold on to it, because they're going to be working together to keep Louis behind.
Yeah, they know the threat that's just being posed, and this is the section of the race where the race itself becomes less of a factor. And what I mean is we're going to see everyone try and play the board like it's chess. They're going to try and go for spots. They're going to try and go for any real opportunity to set themselves up rather than get an immediate gain. It's almost like deliberately losing the position on lap 21 so you can get it back on 22.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to think of it like a... I don't know how to explain it. It's not like a chess, but you got to actually place yourself perfectly to get, to be able to come out on the upper hand, and which is something we see all the time. DRS Chicken, it doesn't just play factor in esports; it plays factor in real life in any motorsport. If that has DRS, we know DRS is very powerful, and sometimes a little bit too powerful for drivers to use. So we'll obviously see how that can impact the finale of this race. 4 laps left to go here in the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment with Camille, who DNF'd on lap 1, turn 1 in Australia, looking to try and bring victory for the Ferrari team ahead of his teammate Mirko and Keane Godendorp in the top 3, meaning in 2 races we'll have 5 different podium sitters if it sits like this, because Reece Linton obviously got podium back in Australia, and our retiree, the first retiree, Nico Benz, got a podium as well back in Australia.
And that is a redemption arc if I've ever seen one for Statera right here. He's gone from literally the earliest possible point bowing out of the race to now leading here in the second round. The Ferraris are looking absolutely indomitable right now. And then you've got Godendorp in 3rd and Welch in 4th, with Linton still in the running, but he is under a severe threat from the Aston Martin that is Jan Halliday. He's been very hungry, he's been waiting, and although he has got the penalty to his name, that doesn't mean he's out for the count by any stretch of the imagination.
Indeed, but Louis Welch there making a move, or potentially looking to make a move on the back of Keane Godendorp. Couldn't get it done in towards the chicane. Gonna look for it down towards turn 1, goes right to the inside line of the Williams. Keeps it to the side on the exit, has a better run, better run than Keane by a long mile, and now gets himself into the top 3 where he can hunt after the 2 Ferraris. Sauber versus Ferrari here as they head up the hill in Erosion Radio, and with the DRS, of course, down towards the Lake chicane, but Keane's got a really good run on the back of Louis, so will he look and try and close in, but I don't think he can. He's lost lots of time because Louis gaining in and trying to push and get himself ahead of Cameron if he can. Can he push ahead of the Ferrari? No, he can't. But he was very, very close enough. If Louis can split the 2 Ferraris, he could be on a winner here. But if he can't, he's going to really, really struggle now, Sappy.
Well, he's right on the back of them now, so he can certainly weigh up some moves. He can weigh up the potential pressure he can place and the threat that he can pose to these 2 drivers who are leapfrogging each other by this point just to preserve their advantage. But as one is at the front of the queue, they are going to be eventually expending their resources. Welch is in no such position. He has 2 drivers in front of him, so no matter where they stand, he's got full DRS, he's got full slipstream, bit of dirty air to contest with, but that doesn't seem to be phasing him.
Yeah, he's done a good job so far, so we'll see what he can do on these last few laps. And Louis gets a penalty! No! He gets a 3-second penalty, and the commentators curse at its finest. Louis Welch could be looking to score pretty much no points in this race because everyone is so close together, all the way down to P14. Is this leading train? Joris Krozen looking from overhead of Bradley Holdham along with Kai Pearce looking to close in. Bit of contact in towards Blanchemont. They all make it through safe and sound. Bit more contact in towards the brakes on they go. And will it be ahead for Bradley or will it be ahead for Joris? I think Bradley just keeps himself ahead, but Joris goes to the outside, has that inside out, the brake is on to tuck himself back down towards turn 1, has a better run on the back of the Sauber as they head in towards turn 1, and yet again Bradley's got that inside line. We're back towards the front. I think someone had a bit of contact there. I think it was Jan Halliday and Sergio Sobrino.
Yeah, I'd say looking a little bit dicey there. Joris is going to be getting himself a 3-second penalty, so he's going to be pulled out of this fight. Reese Linton is starting to reassert himself, though. He wants to get back on it, as Godendorp himself is also going to get 3 seconds. And now, this has become a very different race.
Indeed, it has. We can see Reese looking to make a move ahead of Keane. He's got the move ahead of Keane now. Looking to close in on the back of the top 3. Obviously, Lou's got a penalty, but he's in second. He could get it removed, remember. He could easily get it removed if he got a double warning or if he got pushed off somewhere. And you can see Reese going to the outside as Merkel, for move up the inside, couldn't quite get that move to work. And obviously, Reese is now going to play this very tactically. He's got to make sure he goes for it at the right time. He's got to sit back and then pounce. He can't keep going for it, otherwise it's not going to end well. He's got to sit back and watch for the opportunity to present itself, because it will, because one of these ahead will make a mistake.
Yeah, but he can't wait too long, though, because he might miss the boat before it has a chance to moor in. He's going to have a point where he has to commit. A leap of faith is going to happen. He cannot put it to chance. He cannot put it to the very last opportunity because he might not get it and then he's got no second shots. So I think next lap, he has to make a call. Is he going to safe or is he going to push?
Well, I don't know what he's going to do at this point, but we'll see. Also, it'd be good if we can see the tyres on the screen so the viewers can see how people are doing in terms of their tyre wear and who's going to be looking to be the strongest on the final laps of this race. We can see Mirko closing into the back of Louis Welch. We can see Keane also looking to get himself back ahead of Jan Halliday. Jan's gone to the outside, back to the inside as they head down to turn 1, but he's got the outside at La Source. Can he look to try and find ahead? I think he's easily got himself ahead of Keane as they head into the braking zone. So now it could be a top 5 here for Jan, but the penalties all come into factor. But then again, everyone could get these penalties removed. So even though people could drop down 5 positions or 10 positions, they could get it all back after the stewards.
Yeah, and that is sometimes what happens, but it cannot be banked on necessarily. So this is where you have to have your wits about you and you have to push. You got Mirko Suriano following the back of Louis Welch. It's going to be 3 wide potentially, but no, Louis Welch is going to hang back and he's going to dip out of this one. He's going to drop into P3. The Ferraris have a 1-2. Theo McKee going to get a 41.8, obviously in a space of his own. He can take away that fastest lap point, but there you go, Louis Welch is back in it.
He's got the move, brilliant move there from Louis. He timed it perfectly, got on the exit, straight on the back of the Ferrari, pulled to the inside, and got himself nicely ahead of Cal Sasha. Now going to be on the back of Mirko Suriano. These two going to go hell to nail on the final lap of this race. Remember, Louis has got a penalty, so he will drop positions down, but the penalties can always be removed. It wasn't one he got for a collision or anything. He can have it removed because it was a track limit penalty. Sometimes you can get double warnings, or if you get sent off, you can also get a warning for that as well. So we'll see what happens after the race and if Louis had that penalty. But as they head now out of Coeur de Pulver up towards Blanchemont shortly, we'll see Mirko lead the race, and he's got a 7/10 gap here to Louis. Can he try and stretch it more? So by the time they get to Les Combes, Louis got to gain way more than he would have liked to, and then possibly won't even get the move ahead.
Yep, so now we come to the final lap, and this is where it is all to play for. Drivers have one more chance, maybe two, being realistic, one more chance to secure the move that they want, secure the positions that they need for the much valued points in the championship. At these early stages, it's absolutely worth the play for. As we see Tycho Hardy go for a big send through La Source, he's going to get a confirm on the P10, and that is going to be potentially him getting a point on the board. Much needed for him and much appreciated for his stance in the championship. Camel Statura, he's going to be the next one to go for a move. He's down the Kemmel straight. He's going to be on the inside line coming out of it and ahead of the Sauber of Louis Welch. P1 and 2 once again for Ferrari being restored, but as we've seen, that can change in a moment's notice. Valentine Tivard, massive ahead of him, but Tycho Hardy is going to get a 5-second for corner cutting. So not track limits, out and out corner cutting. I'd love to see what happened there. Maybe there might be a clip after.
That is a weird one indeed. But Louis now on the back of Camel. So we saw, obviously, Camel make the move ahead of Louis. Can Louis try and make it in towards the final few corners? It seems like Camel's trying to back Louis off. He knows that Louis got a bit of a pace advantage. He's still ahead of Mirko. I don't think it's enough to make a move, but we definitely know that Louis is probably the quicker driver on these brand new or newer tyres. We can see as well Reese Linton looking to pace for opportunity. He's got what? The 20%, 30% battery. Louis only got 15%. So now Louis could be under pressure here from the Alpine.
Yeah, but it all comes down to this. It's looking fairly confirmed for some drivers, but not so much for others. Reese Linton could have a chance for a last-minute send and lock in a podium here. He's going to be right on the back of that, Sauber. He's going to be going for it. He put everything in his battery into that last corner. He had a good reserve, but a big slide is going to see him go very tail happy. He's not going to secure it. And then as we come across the line, it's going to be Mirko Soriano with Camel Statura, Reese Linton, Sabrino, and then Holden, Pearson, Koya, Welch, Lopez, and Godendorp. That's your top 10. And then you can see Godendorp so close because after his penalty, 4 milliseconds from P9.
Indeed, and look what the penalties have done. Louis Welch down to 8th. Keane into 10th. Valentine down to 11th. I think it was also Joris who was in the points. He dropped down as well outside that top 10. So the penalties were crucial at the end. But we look at the final results of the top 3. We'll see them shortly. It will be Mirko, obviously, who won that race, I believe, once we can see them all coming through. It'll be Mirko who takes victory ahead of Camel, ahead of Reese, and Sergio Sabrino from 4th on the grid up into 12th. Then we have Kai Pearson, who started back down in P17. He got himself a solid P6. Brilliant job from the AlphaTauri driver. He's got to be considering, for me, maybe driver of the day here tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past because he almost silently made massive moves on the field. He just kept his head down, did what he needed to do, he pushed up, and he's done a very good job converting what was a very bleak start for him into a very good conversion of points. So fair play to him there, and that is where we leave things. And that is going to be a big impact on the championship for round 2 and heading into round 3. But there you go, that's the race itself. That is going to be potentially a big upset for some in their championship drives. We're going to see if we can get a chance to talk to any of the drivers and get their perspectives, as we just had a fireworks of a session. But as we sometimes see with the fireworks of a session, we don't always get the chance to speak to them because it is a bit of a cool down period. Tensions can sometimes be high.
Indeed, they can, and also the results that we get at the end of this race might not be the end. After the stewards' inquiries, I know the stewards always, we'll say they love penalties and stuff because they need that for their job to keep doing it. But at the same time, when they get literally report after report, they probably get quite annoyed. And I think tonight they'll have quite a few reports coming through because there was definitely many questionable things, both in quali and in the race. But it's Belgium, it's a long race, tensions are high, it's normal. But we'll see if we can get a word from our top 3. I did put a message in the Discord chat to Mirko, Camel, and Reese. So we'll see if any of them pop in for a quick word. I know there's other people in the waiting room, but they're off to F4, not here in F2. So we'll see, well, maybe another minute or so to see if they come in. But I've also looked in the F2 chat, and it seems as well tensions are also high between the drivers.
Yeah, and it can always pan out like that. It is a case of, well, say drivers, even at these early stages when things aren't necessarily as effective as they are now, you have your early momentum. You have everyone who is wanting to make a big push, and tensions are going to get high, especially if you feel wronged as a driver. If you feel that it's not
Yeah.
fair, if you feel that you've been wronged and the race has come out of your control, that's when you get heated. And I think some drivers are certainly feeling that.
A big shame for Louis Welch. He's just told me that his penalty isn't removable.
Shame. Shame to see, but valiant nonetheless, and still put up a good result. So this
He did
is...
indeed.
Yeah, this is, I think, where we're going to leave it. Because we do not look as to getting any interviews tonight. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. And that is going to see us set up very well into round 3. And where round 3? Monaco. It is the quote-unquote crown jewel, or the illegal F1 track, as some tend to refer to it, considering if you try to grade it now, not happening. But it is such a place of heritage on the calendar. It's got a confirmed place, and it's like that one it's like that one guy at a party who always is there. It's like he's the one that you talk to. He's the cool person, and he love him or hate him, he can be the life of the party for some. But
indeed. Oh, do we have time for an interview? Because someone's just jumped in.
Oh, a bit late to the gate, but let's do it. We could jump back to interviews. It's going to be Mirko Soriano. And welcome in, my friend. Congratulations on your performance tonight.
Ciao everyone. Yeah, thank you. Am I supposed to speak about the race or?
Well, so I mean, tell us like how are you feeling going in, and I guess how well you felt you did tonight.
Quali was a mess. First of all, we were basically racing in quali. Then yeah, started P5. Went for soft at the start. Then just made my way through the hard runners. Pit was good actually, because me and Camille, we were like together, like P3 and P4, I remember. So we had to choose who to pit first, and I landed pit first. Then I pit the next lap, same as Reese, I think. And then it was quite a game to just be the more like in front of the other guys before the hard runners catch. And then yeah, we played a bit of games with Louis for the DRS, like penultimate lap. But then yeah, I have received my DRS like the whole race. Never used too much, so with one lap to go, I had like 80. So I started to push in the sector shoot on the penultimate lap, create a bit of gap. Then Louis couldn't go for it, and actually Camille overtook him, so it was good for the team as well. 1-2.
Very nice. And yeah, well, I mean, you can't really put a foot wrong there. It obviously panned out very well for you. So where does that leave you feeling in terms of championship this season? So a very good performance tonight could set you up in good standing.
Yeah, as I said last time, it's more of a race to race mentality, and I'm gonna miss next race because I'm vacationing. So yeah, I'll maybe miss some points, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, could have been a race that could help me on the championship, but we'll see.
And see, we will. Well, I mean, enjoy the vacation. I mean, Nathan, anything from you?
No questions, but yet again, Mirko, congratulations on the on the victory. Maybe we'll see you fight for the championship once again this season.
Thank you.
So, Mirko, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time in Monaco.
Thank you guys. Bye.
And
Bye.
that was Mirko Soriano. And that is where we leave things for real this time, and where we will be jumping onto Monaco next week. So, once again, folks, you have been an amazing audience. Do take care. Keep it PSGL. Use code PSGL at GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre for healthy discounts. Support our partners. Support us. Like the stream. And subscribe if you haven't done so already and you like what you see. And that is going to be me personally signing off. Nathan, any thoughts about Monaco that you want to leave us with before we jump off for the night?
Well, just get ready. That's all I'm going to say, because if it's dry, if it's wet, we end up having the race, it will still be a chaotic evening. So get yourself prepared, and obviously make sure to get back here 8 p.m. next Thursday for what could be the best or the worst race of the season.
It's going to be good either way, but I'm looking forward to it, and we will see you very soon. Take care, folks. Good night.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. All here is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a